always like to kid around with clients who come into teenagers. My office is on the second floor, so in order to get there, there's a little lobby, and in the lobby there's the stairs to get to the second floor. A lot of the suites are on the outside, on the ground floor, and then there is an elevator there. So when they're upstairs, I say to them, like, now, when you leave here, how are you going to leave? Or you're not going to jump out the window, right? You're going to go out the door, you're going to go take the stairs or the elevator to get downstairs. So there's a way that's super effective and safe and almost even fun if you want to take a ride on the elevator to get downstairs to the parking lot. Or you could go out the window and you might break your leg and hurt yourself. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, but think about that in terms of like the way you're living your life. Like you're here because you're in trouble. Like whatever it was, like a probation or whoever the issue is. So you try to talk to them about like just introducing them to the idea that is there a certain way that we're to live? Is there a certain way as a teenager to go about living your life that's going to be effective? I said to them, your job is to be the best sophomore in high school. You got to go to school. You got to do your homework. You got to read. You got to learn. If you want to go to college, you're going to have to do that. Or if you want to learn a trade and be a mechanic, or you want to work in a car dealership with fixing cars, you still have to learn and follow. And there's a certain way, right? There's got to be like a certain way. We're created in a certain way. We're created by the living God, and there's a certain way that we live that we're going to operate on our highest level, right? I mean, you could have the most beautiful car in the world. You could have a Maserati or something like that, $150,000 car, Rolls Royce, right? And let's just say they're not electric, but they're gas. You can't put Coca-Cola in the gas tank. The most beautiful car in the world is not going to go anywhere if you're not putting gasoline into the tank. Why? Because it was built a certain way to run on gasoline. So when we think of ourselves, we're built a certain way. We're human beings, that like from last week, birth to death. And while we're here, between birth and death, how are we to live our lives? What is life all about? How are we to operate as a human being? Now today we have this, the analogy of there's some sort of a gate, and all the sheep go through this a sheepfold, and there's a gate, and the sheep they got to enter in through this thing. They can't go through the outside, So, but I was thinking of it, it's interesting. There might be a lot of people, all the sheep, they go through the gate. They could go through the gate as they see this gate, as they understand Christ, and they're all in this fold, and they're all hanging out and talking to each other. It's like, did you go through? Yeah, I went through the gate. Well, why did you go through the gate? Why did you enter into this sheepfold of the shepherd? Well, I saw him raise Lazarus from the dead. I'm like, I saw that. I'm going in. I want to be a part of this guy. I want to follow him. He raised that guy from the dead. That's why I'm here. I was not too long ago. I remember we were all hanging out. We were starving, and he took these loaves and he multiplied them into 5,000. I'm like, oh my God, I'm following this guy. This guy is a powerful dude. And then I heard these stories where they were out fishing and it got stormy, and Jesus was just walking on the water. I'm thinking, I'm a fisherman too. And I'm thinking, you know what? There's some times out there where the sea gets rough, and in case it gets really dicey out there, maybe he could teach me how to walk on water too. So I want to come into this sheepfold. I also heard that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody goes to the Father except through Jesus Christ. If you don't go through the thing with Jesus Christ, you're not saved. You're not saved. So I walk through the gate. I walk through this thing from what I understand of Jesus because I want to be saved. Well, isn't that all about yourself? Well, yeah, but I want to be saved. I don't want to go to hell. right? So there's like a lot of different things there where people could think like, I'm going through this gate, I'm following the shepherd, but why? Why are you following the shepherd? Are you following the shepherd because you want to be saved? Or this guy had all these stories about all these miraculous powers? And they go to another one and go, well, what are you guys talking about? Well, we're talking about why we came through the gate. You know, all the different reasons why we came in. Why, what are you here? I don't know, like, I was listening to Jesus, and of course, like, remember that they had no knowledge of Jesus rising from the dead, right? When they were following Jesus, the first disciples, the first followers of Jesus, they just heard what the guy said. I came in through this gate because I heard this guy talk about love your enemies. And I'm like, I never heard that before. To love my enemy. But there was something about it that did ring true for me. There's something about hating somebody else that I don't really feel good about that inside of myself. You know, in fact, I thought it was almost affecting my health and my well-being. To love my enemies. That, I don't know, that made my heart go on fire. And then Jesus says, like, you know, don't condemn anybody. Don't walk around judging people who disagree with you, who believe something differently than you do. You know, don't condemn them. I didn't come here to condemn the world. I came to redeem it, to save it. I thought, wow, that's different too. To not condemn anybody, to not judge anybody, to not curse somebody, to not hate somebody. That just made me feel, I don't know, I felt more alive inside of me. I'm starting to think, I'm wondering if maybe that's the way I was built. That there was something inside of me that resonated with that, and that hatred and condemnation was not seem to be aligned with who I really was as a human being. And then he talked about helping other people, people who were poor, people who needed help, to go out of my way and to help those who were less fortunate. And then I started doing that, and there was something about that I just felt alive in that, to follow Jesus. He talked about, it was crazy, he was talking about this kingdom of heaven is within me. You know, it's just, I remember one time I was there, and then remember the story with Nicodemus? It says Nicodemus came at night. Now it says he came at night because he didn't want anybody to see him, but you could also look at it like he came at night because Nicodemus didn't get it. He was like kind of clueless. He was in the dark. And he comes to Jesus and says, like, you know, you speak these words, you touch my heart, but I don't understand it. He says, Nicodemus, you got to be born again. What do you mean born again? Can a man enter his mother's womb a second time? Again, almost in the scripture, kind of spoofing a little bit on people who take everything literally. Like, no, Nicodemus, we're not talking about you going into your mother's womb again. We're talking about you having an inner transformation within your heart and in your mind. To be born again. So, like, when I was listening to Jesus with his teaching, and I kept being drawn to him, and I was following him, and I realized, like, I'm not here for the bread. I'm not here for the supernatural miracles and walking on water. I'm here because this guy has touched my heart in such a way that I want to be different. I want to change. There's something about that I felt more myself, more totally human. This shift. You think about like dieting, you know what I mean? Like to lose weight, and it's, you go, I don't know who I'm really talking about, but the doctor said, like, when you get your teeth back, you got to lose weight. Your sugar level, the cholesterol, whatever. You got to like watch what you're eating, right? And it's like, well, on one hand, if you're trying to like lose weight, and you're like, it's so difficult, it's so hard, right? But then when you're told, well, no, it's going to be your diabetes or your heart or whatever, like all these reasons why you have to change your diet. Now all of a sudden there's a shift, and changing your diet becomes easier because now you see this higher value to it. There's like an inner connection to the whole thing. So now it becomes easier. It's like when you're with kids, right? When you're raising your kids and you want, like, you're having your chicken parm and then your kid eats it on you. You know what I mean? There's a party like, ugh. But you know what? There's such a love that you have for your child that you don't even care that she clipped your chicken parmesan. Because of this love. It's the same thing, but now you don't feel like you're out at a loss. So when you make this connection of love to sacrifice and to come out of yourself is almost easier. So like the way to be a Christian disciple, when you really look at it, it's only difficult if we're not making that inner shift, that inner change of being. To make that shift. So when you think about love your enemies, don't condemn, come out of yourself and sacrifice and give to other people. It can seem difficult. How do we do that? How do we live the St. Francis Peace Prayer? We really listen to the words of that, right? It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It's in loving that we're loved. The whole song has nothing to do with moi. The whole song has everything to do with otherness. It seems like it goes against the grain. It seems difficult, but when you align and you connect yourself with what Jesus was talking about, you almost say to yourself, oh my gosh, I totally get it. This is actually easy, and it's aligned with who I really am as a human being. This is the call of Jesus Christ. So when you think of like we're all these sheep, and we're gathering and we're going through this gate, and we want to be in this sheepfold with all these sheep. When you think about it, there could be a lot of reasons why people went in there.